Hello everyone, welcome back to NightScaryDream. Before we dive into the next part of our terrifying tale, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get comfy. It's time to continue the story. As they entered the warehouse, Emily and Ariana were met with a sea of faces. The syndicate's agents were everywhere, their eyes fixed on Emily and Ariana with cold, calculating intensity. Emily's brother stood at the front of the room, a smirk on his face. "Welcome, Emily," he said, his voice dripping with malice. "I've been waiting for you." Emily's eyes locked onto her brother's, her heart heavy with emotion. She knew that she had to save him no matter what. Ariana stepped forward, her gun drawn. "We're not going to let you hurt anyone else," she said. The syndicate's leader, a tall, imposing figure, stepped forward. "You're too late," he said, his voice cold and menacing. "The virus has already been released. Nothing can stop it now." Emily's eyes widened in horror. She knew that she had to act fast, or risk losing everything. With a fierce determination, Emily charged forward, her gun blazing. She fought her way through the syndicate's agents, taking down anyone who got in her way. Ariana fought alongside her, taking down agents with precision and skill. Together, they made their way through the warehouse, determined to stop the syndicate and save Emily's brother. As they fought, Emily's brother watched with a mixture of fascination and horror. He knew that he had gone too far, and that he had to make things right. With a sudden burst of courage, Emily's brother turned on the syndicate's leader, tackling him to the ground. "I won't let you do it," he said, his voice firm. "I won't let you hurt anyone else." Emily's eyes locked onto her brother's, her heart filled with pride and hope. She knew that he was back, and that together they could make things right. With renewed determination, Emily and Ariana fought on, taking down the syndicate's agents one by one. They were a formidable team, and nothing could stop them now. As the fight raged on, Emily's brother managed to overpower the syndicate's leader and grab the vial of virus. He held it up, a look of triumph on his face. "We did it," Emily said, relief washing over her. "We stopped them." But just as they were about to celebrate, the warehouse was filled with the sound of sirens. The police had arrived, responding to a tip from Marcus. The syndicate's agents, realizing they were outnumbered, began to retreat. Emily's brother, still holding the vial, turned to her and Ariana. "What do we do now?" he asked. Emily thought for a moment. "We need to get the vial to a safe place," she said. "Somewhere it can't be used to harm anyone." Ariana nodded. "I know a place," she said. "Follow me." They made their way through the warehouse, avoiding the police and the syndicate's agents. Finally, they reached a small room in the back, filled with computer equipment and scientific instruments. Ariana quickly got to work, using the equipment to analyze the vial and render it harmless. Emily and her brother watched, relieved, as the vial was secured and the virus was neutralized. As they stood there, surrounded by the hum of machinery and the glow of computer screens, Emily felt a sense of closure. They had stopped the syndicate, and they had saved the world from the virus. But as she looked at her brother, she knew that there was still work to be done. He had been hurt, physically and emotionally, and he needed time to heal. "We'll get through this together," Emily said, putting a hand on her brother's shoulder. He nodded, a small smile on his face. "Thanks, sis," he said. And as they stood there, surrounded by the quiet of the room, Emily knew that they would face whatever came next together. As they stood there, Emily's brother suddenly spoke up. "I'm sorry, Emily," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "I'm sorry for everything I did. I was so blind, so stupid." Emily's eyes filled with tears as she looked at her brother. She could see the pain and regret in his eyes, and she knew that he was truly sorry. "It's okay, brother," she said, her voice soft. "We all make mistakes. What matters is that you're sorry, and that you're willing to make things right." Her brother nodded, a small smile on his face. "I'll do whatever it takes," he said. "I'll help you take down the syndicate, and I'll do everything I can to make up for what I did." Emily smiled, feeling a sense of hope and renewal. "We'll do it together," she said. "We'll make things right together." As they hugged, Ariana looked on, a small smile on her face. She knew that Emily and her brother still had a long way to go, but she also knew that they were on the right path. And as they stood there, surrounded by the quiet of the room, Ariana knew that she had found something special, a sense of family, of belonging. She knew that she would do whatever it took to protect Emily and her brother, and to help them take down the syndicate once and for all. But as they stood there, basking in the warmth of their newfound bond, a sudden noise echoed through the room. It was the sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate. Emily's eyes snapped towards the door, her heart racing with fear. "What was that?" she whispered. Ariana's eyes narrowed, her hand on her gun. "I don't know," she said, "but I think we're about to find out." As they waited, the footsteps grew louder, and Emily could feel her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that they had to be careful, that they couldn't let their guard down. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a figure loomed in the doorway. Emily's eyes widened as she took in the sight of Marcus, his face grim and determined. "Marcus!" Emily exclaimed, relief washing over her. "What are you doing here?" Marcus's eyes scanned the room, taking in the sight of Emily, her brother, and Ariana. "I've been tracking the syndicate's movements," he said. "I knew they were planning something big." Ariana's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" she asked. Marcus hesitated, his eyes locked on Emily's. "I mean that the syndicate has one final trick up their sleeve," he said. "Something that could change everything." Emily's heart sank, her mind racing with possibilities. "What is it?" she asked. Marcus took a deep breath, his eyes locked on hers. "It's a bomb," he said. "A bomb that could destroy the entire city." Emily's eyes widened in horror, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that they had to act fast, that they couldn't let the syndicate carry out their plan. "We have to stop them," Emily said, her voice firm. Marcus nodded, his eyes locked on hers. "I know," he said, "but we have to be careful. The syndicate will stop at nothing to achieve their goal." Ariana's eyes narrowed, her hand on her gun. "We're not going to let them," she said. Emily's brother stepped forward, his eyes locked on Emily's. "I'm with you, sis," he said. "We'll stop them together." Emily smiled, feeling a sense of hope and determination. She knew that they could do it, that they could stop the syndicate and save the city. Together, the four of them set out on their mission, determined to stop the syndicate and save the day. As they made their way through the city, Emily and her team encountered numerous obstacles. They fought off the syndicate's agents, dodged police patrols, and navigated through crowded streets. Despite the challenges, they remained determined and focused. They knew that they had to stop the syndicate's bomb, no matter what it took. After what seemed like hours of navigating through the city, they finally reached the location of the bomb. It was an old warehouse on the outskirts of town, surrounded by a high fence and guarded by the syndicate's agents. Emily and her team surveyed the area, looking for a way in. They knew that they had to be careful, that one mistake could mean disaster. "I think I see a way in," Ariana said, pointing to a small opening in the fence. Marcus nodded, his eyes locked on the opening. "Let's do it," he said. Without hesitation, the four of them slipped through the opening and made their way into the warehouse. They moved quickly and quietly, trying not to alert the syndicate's agents. As they reached the center of the warehouse, they saw it. The bomb. It was a massive device, ticking away with an ominous countdown. "We have to disable it," Emily said, her voice firm. Marcus nodded, his eyes locked on the bomb. "I'll take care of it," he said. With Marcus working on the bomb, Emily, Ariana, and her brother took positions around the warehouse, ready to defend themselves against the syndicate's agents. As they waited, the tension was palpable. They knew that they were running out of time, that the bomb could go off at any moment. Suddenly, the syndicate's agents emerged from the shadows, guns blazing. Emily and her team returned fire, fighting off the agents with all their might. In the chaos of the battle, Emily lost sight of Marcus. She frantically searched for him, her heart pounding with fear. And then, just as the bomb was about to go off, Marcus appeared, a look of triumph on his face. "I did it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I disabled the bomb." Emily's eyes locked onto Marcus, her heart filled with relief and gratitude. They had done it. They had stopped the Syndicate's bomb and saved the city. But as they stood there, basking in the glow of their victory, Emily knew that their work was far from over. The Syndicate was still out there, and they would stop at nothing to achieve their goals. The battle may have been won, but the war was far from over. As the dust settled, Emily and her team shared a moment of relief and triumph. They had saved the city from the Syndicate's bomb, and they had finally brought the organization to its knees. But as they stood there, basking in the glow of their victory, Emily's brother suddenly spoke up. "We can't let our guard down," he said. "The Syndicate still has operatives out there, and they'll stop at nothing to get revenge." Emily nodded, her eyes narrowing. "You're right," she said. "We need to take down the Syndicate once and for all." With newfound determination, Emily and her team set out to track down the Syndicate's remaining operatives. They scoured the city, following every lead, every tip. And finally, after weeks of searching, they found what they were looking for. The Syndicate's secret headquarters, hidden deep beneath the city streets. "We're going in," Emily said, her voice firm. Ariana nodded, her gun at the ready. "Let's do this." Marcus and Emily's brother followed close behind, their eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger. As they entered the headquarters, they were met with a hail of gunfire. The Syndicate's operatives were waiting for them, and they were determined to take them down. But Emily and her team were not intimidated. They fought back with all their might, taking down the Syndicate's operatives one by one. And finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the heart of the headquarters. The Syndicate's leader, the mastermind behind the organization's evil plans. "You're finished," Emily said, her gun trained on the leader. The leader sneered, but Emily could see the fear in his eyes. He knew that he was beaten. And with that, Emily pulled the trigger, ending the Syndicate's reign of terror once and for all. But as they stood there, victorious, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that there were still more battles to be fought, more enemies to be defeated, and she knew that she would be ready. As they walked away from the ruins of the Syndicate's headquarters, Emily's team was ambushed by a group of rogue agents. The agents, determined to take down Emily and her team, opened fire. Emily's instincts kicked in, and she quickly took cover behind a nearby dumpster. Her brother and Ariana followed suit, returning fire at the agents. Marcus, however, took a different approach. He charged forward, taking down agents with his expert hand-to-hand combat skills. Emily watched in awe as Marcus took down agent after agent. She knew that she could always count on him to have her back. With Marcus's help, they were able to take down the rogue agents and emerge victorious. As they stood panting, surrounded by the bodies of their enemies, Emily turned to Marcus and smiled. "Thanks for watching my back," she said. Marcus smiled back, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Anytime, Emily," he said. And with that, Emily leaned in and kissed Marcus, the adrenaline of the battle still pumping through their veins. As they pulled back, Emily's brother and Ariana cheered, grinning from ear to ear. "I guess this means we're more than just teammates," Marcus said, his eyes locked on Emily's. Emily smiled, her heart racing with excitement. "I guess it does," she said. And as they walked off into the sunset, Emily knew that she had found not only justice but also love, and that she would always stand with her team, ready to face whatever challenges came their way. That's the end of our story. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more.